Hello, Capricorn. I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is your October 2019 tarot forecast. I will be giving you a Celtic cross reading for the month of October for all Capricorns, sun, rising, and moon. And so we shall use this in addition to the astrology to get a little more, perhaps a lot more, insight into your month of October and really sort of flesh out just what you are likely to expect or can likely expect this month. So one more thing before we begin. Yes, I see the sun on me there. It'll just be like that for a little bit as it's setting right now. Since it is Halloween this month, I decided to use the Tarot of Vampires deck. A little ironic because the sun's on me right now, but I thought, why not use the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels to give this month's readings a spookier, dark, sort of Halloween vibe in celebration of Halloween. Certainly one of my favorite holidays. But still, that is what we're doing. All right, so without further ado, let us begin. So we would like a Celtic cross forecast for all Capricorn people for the month of October 2019. Let's see what we get. What will be the energy for Capricorn in the month of October 2019? So as I do this reading, I will hold up each card that you get to the camera right before going over it, just because I'm using a different deck than I normally would this month. And I'll explain what each card corresponds to in the Rider-Waite deck or in a classic tarot deck for those who are interested. So what will be the fate of Capricorn in the month of October? What insight and advice can we call forth from the universe for Capricorn in the month of October 2019? What fate awaits Capricorn in October 2019? Is that it? That's it. There we go. Took a little longer than usual, but actually that's really not that unusual. Current outside influences, the Fool. Very nice. The Challenge, the Sun reversed. Kind of like I have the sun reversed on me right now. And I'm a Capricorn sun, which is even more weird. Anyway, the Six of Scepters reversed for the underlying energy. The Past, the Queen of Knives reversed. what you hope to achieve. The Six of Knives reversed. The near future, the Ten of Scepters. Your attitude or position on the situation, the Star. I know I had at least one other sign get the Star this month. I can't remember which one it was, but they got the Star for their attitude or position. So maybe something's going around. More people are feeling hopeful this month, which that's always a good thing. The outside force coming in, Temperance reversed. Hopes or fears, the Five of Scepters reversed. And the final outcome card, the Hermit reversed. All right, so I'm just going to take a moment, as I often do with my readings, to take all of this in as a whole first and examine the various connections, and then give you my interpretation card by card. So you can fast forward if you don't want to wait, but it should just be about a minute as I observe all the stuff, as I burn and observe, as I like to say. That's interesting. Your astrology pointed out your 10th house of career, but your tarot reading is activating with 2 6s your 6th house of work, kind of more like your day-to-day work. So apparently that's going to be significant as well, not just your career. Keep that in mind, or at the very least for very many of you. Okay. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. I see a lot of what's going on here. All right. Let's dive into this. This month's going to be a lot about beginnings and endings for you guys. So, indeed, you are beginning the month with the Fool. This represents your current outside influences right around the beginning of the month. I'll hold it up for you there. Yay, it's focusing. So I generally consider in a Celtic Cross reading the first card to be one of the most important, if not the most important cards of the spread, because it's like this is what really anchors it, and everything else just sort of flows from there and comments on this original energy. Maybe others would disagree, but that's my perspective on it. It's almost like the first card is what really matters, and everything else is kind of a modifier of that. And indeed, this is highly applicable to the rest of this reading here. What we have with the Fool for your current outside influences right around the beginning of the month is this whole idea of spontaneity and new beginnings and heading out for a new adventure and acting on inspiration, finding more freedom and innocence, and really breaking free from any limitations or things that have been trying to hold you down or hold you back from moving forward with your life, starting a new chapter in your life and being who you are. And as we go right along here, we can definitely see that it looks like something is likely trying to hold you back from this like new adventure, this new perhaps chapter in your life. As we see with your challenge card, the Sun, you did get it reversed, although it's the challenge, so in a way I feel like reversals matter less. But let's hold that up to the camera real quick. The Sun, kind of a funny card in a tarot deck about vampires. But here it is. So yes, you got this for your challenge. This is the area of life this month that is crossing you, that is posing some difficulty for you, that is pushing you into new areas, new territory, new growth, and the integration of which will be to your benefit. So I'm just going to hold it up upright since it is the challenge card. And I'm going to be interpreting it more so upright as the challenge card than reverse, because I think that fits this context a lot. Although actually, wait a minute. The reversal fits the context as well to some extent, but I think the upright meaning is far more relevant. Anyway, let me get into it. Speaking of things holding you back from new beginnings, this coming in as your challenge card. The Sun card often indeed talks about new beginnings. And so simply put, that's your challenge this month, is the new beginning. But to be a little more specific or detailed about it, the Sun card with its great optimism and life and joy is all about a joyful new beginning, a very happy, enthusiastic new beginning. And so that's the kind of energy you want to integrate into yourself this month, not resist, but integrate. It's an area of difficulty to sort of own that enthusiasm and joy for a new beginning or joyful new beginning, but that's the challenge. That's the work. That's what you want to integrate into yourself this month. So there you have it. So let me just put it back just right. Otherwise, it'll drive me kind of crazy. For the underlying energy, everything forming a foundation for your current situation and your immediate environment, you got the Six of Scepters reversed. So let me hold that up to the camera in its upright position, just so you can see how it looks normally. This card corresponds to the Six of Wands in a classic tarot deck. So in its reversal, well, first of all, remember this is not really necessarily talking about you so much as it's talking about maybe people around you in your immediate environment or something you're falling back on this month. But one of the primary meanings for the Six of Scepters or Six of Wands reversed is the idea of procrastination. So a lot of people around you in your environment may be procrastinating this month, interestingly enough. Perhaps indeed around your work, as we can see through other areas of this reading, particularly the fact that there's two sixes, and maybe even we could guess from your astrology that we went over prior to this, with all that 10th house career activity, that being connected to work, that as well, meaning that people around you may be procrastinating, and who knows, maybe they're a bit lazy this month. But let's consider what else we have with the Six of Scepters or Six of Wands reversed. We have the idea, well, one thing of like ego dysfunction. So watch out for that around you. Perhaps some people being overly egotistical or just not seeing their role within things accurately. It can also, particularly with it being a 6 and reversed, and what we see with the other 6 being reversed, possibly indicate health issues, health problems. So I would say be extra careful with your health this month. However, again, with this being the underlying energy, it could be saying that it's more so people around you may have some health issues this month. But I mean, you also got a 6 reversed in what you hope to achieve. So I definitely wouldn't rule it out that it could also be applying to you. I would say if you can be extra careful with your health this month, maybe get some extra rest or whatever, just to be on the safe side. So that's what we have there. I feel like it's getting kind of dark in here right as I'm filming this. So there we go. That should be good. For the past, you got the Queen of Knives reversed. So I'll show it to you upright, but you did get it reversed. This card represents the recent past issues that you may have had to deal with that then lead to your present circumstances. And this card corresponds to the Queen of Swords in a classic tarot deck. So, first of all, with this being a court card and with its reversal, it may indicate for many of you conflict and or just general issues or problems or challenges with typically an adult female air sign individual. That would be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, because indeed this is the Queen of Knives, correspondent to the Queen of Swords. So there may have been a person like that in your life in the recent past that you had some kind of challenges with that have then led to your current situation where you're trying to break free, as we saw with the Fool card and also the Sun card, trying to break free to the new beginning, the new adventure, the new chapter in your life, but feeling like perhaps you can't move on from this situation for some reason, or this person is holding you back in some way. Now, if it did not manifest as a person, the Queen of Knives reversed or Queen of Swords reversed talks about things like coldness, especially intellectual coldness, a lack of clarity, a lot of times being caught up in irrationality or excessively subjective perspectives, maybe even solipsism in a very negative sense, regardless of your views on that sort of thing. Can talk about sort of like unreliable friends and allies, these areas of life. But it's interesting because it looks like regardless of how this manifested for you, whether it was with a specific person or just like a general situation or whatever, it's something that you are now really trying to break free from here in October, especially at the beginning of the month, but it looks like perhaps all month you're trying to break free from this and find your freedom and begin the new chapter of your life, the next new adventure in your life, but you're feeling like held down by all of this. So remember what I said about the Sun card, remember what I said. I said, integrate that energy of optimism and enthusiasm for the new beginning. And that will be to your benefit this month. I would say as an aside here that, and perhaps some, if not many of you know this already, that I am probably one of the biggest critics of positive thinking, but I'm also an advocate of positive thinking when done correctly, which means when done in such a way that it does not resist the negative within you, when it is done at the right time, or when it is done out of sort of a desperation to free yourself from a place of powerlessness. Now, I do not normally sort of mix in this kind of information with a tarot reading because I don't exactly consider it appropriate. But there are exceptions. There are exceptional situations like this one where the cards actually are talking about this idea, at least in the challenge card, giving you the advice of being positive or positive thinking. And so I will say in this specific instance, yes, there are some times, maybe there are even kind of many times, but I would say people tend to way overdo this. But fortunately, you are Capricorn, you tend to be the realist, and so you're one of the least likely ones to suffer from this problem of excessive positive thinking. In fact, you guys tend to be more pessimistic, if anything. Like I said, I know this personally because I am one, Capricorn Sun. But what I'm saying here is that this month in particular, with the Sun card showing up for your challenge card and crossing over the Fool, who is also very like optimistic and positive in his disposition, I would say, yes, this would be a month where cultivating positivity, where optimism and positive thinking will likely lead you in the right direction, in the direction that you want to go, and help you meet the challenges that you face, help you break free from whatever is holding you back, because it indeed does look like from the cards here that there's something you're trying to like move on from, something or someone that you're trying to move on from, and you're feeling held down by this person and or thing, finding difficulty moving forward. And on that note, speaking of which, for what you hope to achieve, you got the Six of Knives reversed, just further backing up what I was just saying. I'll just show it to you briefly upright, however. This corresponds to the Six of Swords reversed in a classic tarot deck. And this position of what you hope to achieve is like your highest wish this month, your highest goal, what you're reaching for, what you want to accomplish. So, Six of Knives reversed, Six of Swords reversed. Very simply put, you are hoping to overcome a blockage to moving on from a difficult situation. And I see we're blurry. Let me see if I can just sort of fix that real quick. You're hoping to overcome a blockage to moving on with your life, moving forward with your life, and especially again with this falling in the hope to achieve position, you know, that's what you're reaching for this month. And it may not be easy, it may even be kind of painful to move on, but it shows that you really are consciously, actively thinking of this month, this desire to move forward, or maybe even, I apologize for the blur, this doesn't normally happen. Let's hope that sort of fixes things. Yeah, there we go. It could even be with the reversal that some of you perhaps even are wanting to almost remain stuck temporarily, like you're not wanting to move on, but this card showing up, and while also the other ones too, are saying that really you kind of sort of need to move on, or you need to find a way to do that. And I don't say that to, I sure as hell do not say that to invalidate the way that any of you are feeling. I'm coming from the position of saying, do what you have to do to authentically let go of whatever it is that you need to move on from. And again, I wouldn't be throwing in all this, like, I don't know, sort of life advice stuff if I didn't think it really fit in with your reading here. So for the near future, representing sort of the first week or two of your month, you got the 10 of Scepters. Let me show you that up, right? So there's that 10th house again, 10th house of career and your main focus and your goals, showing right up in that first week or two. This corresponds to the 10 of Wands in a typical tarot deck. So I think it's very interesting that this is showing up in the first week or two, in addition to these cards saying this month that it's time for a new beginning. It's time to enter new territory because, again, 10 of Scepters, 10th house of career. And we saw all this stuff in your astrology about your 10th house of career and like, oh, it's a good time to set new goals with your career and sort of enter new territory with your career. And the new moon at the end of September, whose lunar cycle is stretching through the most of this month, is or was in your 10th house of career. And so all of that energy, new beginnings activated in that area via the new moon, your 10th house of career, for almost the entirety of this month. So there you have it, basically. Now, what else does this card mean? 10 of Scepters, 10 of Wands. Very often the idea of the heavy burden, but it's also like in a positive sense. It's achievement, it's accomplishment, it's manifestation, it's getting things done. It's sort of seizing the day and completing your work. The idea of the completion of something in the area of willpower and action. You could say it's like the manifestation of willpower or the manifestation of action, all of these sorts of things. So it does look like, as seems to be a very Capricorn-like thing, that perhaps the pressure that may be on you this month, at least in this first week or two, is pushing you towards great achievement and accomplishment. And so that's excellent. It may be hard work. It may be quite the heavy burden, but ultimately these things tend to be very well worth it. And indeed, I would say it's quite possibly in the area of career, quite likely in that 10th house area of career for many of you, with this being the 10 of Scepters. For your attitude or position on the situation, about halfway through the month, you got the Star. The Star, beautiful card. Hold that up. This represents how you are feeling overall this month. That's weird. It was in focus, and then it no longer was. So if there's one word that could sum up the Star card, it is this: hope. You guys are likely feeling very hopeful this month, which is good. You know, despite the things trying to hold you back, you are hopeful for the new journey, the new chapter, the new adventure in your life. You're hopeful that you can let go of the past and experience a time beyond that trauma or difficulty, which is so interesting that fits right in with this reading, because that is also one of the primary messages of this card, or parts of what this card is all about. To be more specific regarding this idea of hope, it's like the hope for the time in life following the trauma or the great difficulty, like the hope for a life free of trauma or whatever the pain is from the past that you then get through. Like, not that you're there yet, but the hope of getting there and almost being able to like see it, like a light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. So yeah, it's a very beautiful card. Is there something else I was going to say about it? Oh, just to reiterate again, I'm not just saying that this card is saying that this is how you're feeling. Other entire sections of this reading say that this is likely how you're feeling, that you're like trying to let go of the past and what's holding you down, and you can feel the hope of a better future, of a better life this month. So some powerful stuff right there. For the outside force coming in, you got Temperance reversed. So I'll show it to you upright. You did get it reversed. This is how it looks upright, however. This represents likely not you, but instead something or someone coming at you or to you this month. So a couple of possibilities here. First of all, with its reversal, I would say someone or something coming at you this month that is of great polarization, because Temperance upright is all about sort of balancing out polarities, or the unification of polarities, like the unification of opposites, the unification or integration of extremes or of polarities. So in the reversal, that's showing quite often that is sort of out of whack. And so someone or something representing this polarized perspective, or this polarized like vibrational state, is likely coming at you or to you this month. And I would say it's likely going to be the opposite polarity of an area perhaps where you have a strong polarity. So I know this sounds rather esoteric. Let me try to put it in more simple terms. So basically what this means is, whenever you take a strong position on something or have a strong feeling about something, that's a polarity. So anytime that happens in general, you're going to, just by taking that position, attract other people who have taken the position opposite that polarity. You're going to attract people who see things the opposite way of how you see them, basically, which I know it's like, isn't that annoying? But that's literally how the energy works. It's my theory anyway, is that it's the universal energy trying to balance itself out. Or really, it's not even about balance. If you want to get right down to it, it's actually about the universe trying to integrate, because polarized perspectives or polarized emotions or whatever, polarity itself is, how do I put this? It typically results from a state of non-integration or disintegration. Whereas that's why when you have this card upright and you study the meanings of it, it's so peaceful. It's so like easy. It's called temperance. It's like tempering things. It's softening them, bringing them down, bringing them into balance, bringing them into harmony. That's why that this card is called Temperance, and about that in its upright position. Reverse, though, again, it can be someone or something that is polarized in a way that is probably opposite to a way that you personally, Capricorn, are polarized. So obviously the lesson with that, or whatever, of this card is, if someone comes to you who is polarized in a way that is opposite to you, follow the advice of this card and try to integrate their perspective into your own. Become less polarized, in other words. Like, figure out what it is that you're resisting within yourself that this person is representing or this situation is representing, and integrate it, accept it, stop resisting it. I'm trying to put this as simple as I can. Figure out what the hell you're resisting, what the hell you're not okay with, and see if you can find a way to be okay with it. That is essentially the message of this card, or one of the lessons of this card. And if you find that you cannot accept it or be okay with it, then try to accept your inability to accept it, which may sound like a paradox, but really it is not. That is the work, I would say. Now, I got to be honest, like, I don't think this will manifest in this next way that I'm about to describe for many, if any of you, because it's a far more negative way, and we're not really seeing strong negative indicators in this reading. But just in case, I do need to mention this so that you can be forewarned in case it is a possibility. Temperance reverse can also at times indicate basically sort of like great misfortune, especially of a financial nature. And it can also be like a spiritual crisis with this card's association with the sign of Sagittarius and the planet Jupiter. It can be like a philosophical crisis or something like that. Now, again, with this being something coming at you this month, this would be like someone or something or some situation representing that kind of terrible misfortune or spiritual crisis or whatever, if it does manifest that way. But again, like I said, I think that's far less likely. And I think all this stuff about polarity that I just went over is what is far more likely for the vast, vast majority of you, if not all of you. For your hopes or fears, you got the 5 of Scepters reversed. So I'll show it to you upright briefly. This corresponds to the 5 of Wands in a classic tarot deck. So 5 of Scepters reversed in hopes or fears is essentially saying you're hoping to be able to make peace with some kind of situation, or you're hoping for greater peace. 5 of Scepters reverse is all about like greater peace and less fighting, or no more fighting altogether. You're hoping for that, and people like getting along more, the ending of unhealthy competition, if there's been that in your life. You're hoping essentially for that. You're maybe a bit concerned this month about conflict, but you're hoping for the resolution of that conflict. So for what that's worth, there it is. And now for your final outcome card, how you are concluding the month of October 2019. You got the Hermit reversed. So let me hold that up to the camera real quick. So there are a few things you need to know about this card coming up as your outcome card this month. First of all, with it being a 9, is the camera going to focus? Okay, good. With it being a 9 and with it being reversed, 9s representing endings. The new beginning that you're reaching for this month, it may be that a number of you, perhaps quite a few of you, are not there yet by the end of this month, unfortunately. You're still perhaps clinging to the past for whatever reason. You're not ready to close the door on what you need to let go of. And so I would say be extra aware of that this month. It's time for a new beginning. It's time to leave the past behind. It's time to move on from those things. if you're ready. It may vary from individual to individual, but I would say the vast majority of you, energetically, from what we're seeing here, are ready for this new beginning. And so really try to let go. Another strong possibility, especially with the 2 6s reversed that we saw earlier when we have the Hermit reversed, is health concerns, illness. So yet again, I would highly suggest be extra careful with your health this month. Perhaps try to get extra rest. Try to drink more water. These are just suggestions. Maybe take some vitamins. Get a little extra exercise, perhaps, things of this nature. Remember to breathe deeply. I know that sounds simple, but actually deep breathing, oxygenation is quite helpful as well from what I've heard. Again, these are just suggestions. Do whatever you feel you need to do for your health, I would say. Another possibility with the Hermit reversed, and this also, I can see this potentially connecting into other areas of your reading here this month, with cards like the Sun being the challenge and the 6 of Knives reversed and what you hope to achieve, and also the Queen of Knives reversed in your past, is the idea of not seeing things clearly. And when we look at the star for your attitude or position on the situation, it's even more sinister potentially. And hopefully it's not this bad for many, if any of you, but it's the potential of not seeing reality clearly, but thinking that we do. So I would say, take the lesson of this card upright, which is a very intellectual and analytical card, and make sure that you're really thinking things through this month. Analyze them thoroughly, especially if it's like a big issue in your life. Analyze it in detail, as the sign of Virgo teaches us. Now, what was the other thing I was going to mention with that? Oh, yes. This also makes a lot of sense considering that indeed this month we have the Mercury retrograde, or Mercury entering its retrograde shadow October 11th, and then going retrograde at the very end of the month, the last day on Halloween. So that is indeed a time where we likely aren't seeing things as clearly. There's too much mental activity, and so this card can talk about that as well. Now, going back to health-wise, this card can talk about the idea of a misdiagnosis. So be very careful with that. I would suggest if you're experiencing or like getting any kind of like medical work done or like surgeries done this month or anything like that, this can be like a misdiagnosis or like potentially even like the wrong kind of surgery. Just be extra careful. Again, the Mercury retrograde activity is building this month. You want to be extra careful with stuff like that in general. However, after going over all that negative stuff with this card, one positive thing that this could manifest as, especially with what you guys are reaching for so much this month, or maybe I should say we are reaching for, I'm a Capricorn too, is the Hermit reversal being sometimes also about getting away from the old ways of things, getting away from being alone and getting more out into the world, getting away from the old routine and embracing the new routine, getting into the new, because again, the cards are indicating this month you want to go on the new adventure. You want to have the new beginning. You want to move forward with your life. And this could be indicating indeed doing just that, sometimes in its reversal. Not one of the primary meanings that I associate with it, at least in my experience with this card reversed, but it's there. I'll definitely say it's there. It's there intellectually and it's there intuitively. Now, one more thing I'm going to do, I do this from time to time, since the Hermit card reversed can seemingly have so many possibilities in general and in the context of this spread, I'm going to draw one more card, an 11th card, and see if we can get maybe a little more insight into what it means specifically. Like maybe we will, maybe we won't. Let's just see. The Lord of Scepters reversed. Okay. That makes it a little bit clearer here. Let me just hold this up briefly. This is the card upright. You did get it reversed. This corresponds to the Knight of Wands in a classic tarot deck. So this card reverse can talk about feeling a lack of energy, feeling fatigue, feeling a lack of motivation, a lack of inspiration, that sort of thing. And so that might be, or I would say that quite possibly is what the Hermit reversed is more getting at for you at the end of this month, is like, indeed going more to the health concerns, like a feeling of exhaustion, or maybe just maybe even a feeling of dullness. I would say with this card, it would be more in terms of taking action, but with combined with the Hermit reversed, maybe even some intellectual dullness. So again, remember to think things through and be careful in that way. It could also, of course, with this being a court card, theoretically represent a potential conflict with an adult male fire sign. That would be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. So do be aware of that. But I would say, I don't know, since we're drawing this as an 11th card, I would think it'd be far more likely to comment on the outcome card, the Hermit reverse, saying, hey, you might be feeling kind of exhausted at the end of this month. So just be careful with your health. And again, yet again, remember to think things through and let go of the past so you can embrace the new. All right, Capricorn, that's all I have for you. Wow, this was quite the reading. It took quite a bit of time to go over. Not that it's entirely uncommon for my tarot readings to last this long, particularly this month. But yes, there you have it. So I hope you have a delightful October 2019. A happy Halloween. And I hope you enjoy this new chapter of your life that you're reaching for as we go back to where we began with the Fool card, who tells you to embrace the new adventure, dare to experience the new, and don't let yourself be held down from your true destiny of exploring this physical realm in this life. So that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe if you're not already, as I do plan on coming back soon with more astrology and tarot related videos, astrology and tarot forecasts. And I do hope to see you next time. Bye for now.